What's going on? I got a different one for you guys today. I know typically I am showing you guys more advanced photography topics using my expensive photography equipment and also my computer using Lightroom and Photoshop and things like that. But today I thought would be kind of fun showing you guys some techniques I use with my smartphone and how to take some better pictures with your smartphone, and more importantly, how to maybe process or post-process your images with your smartphone. So today we're actually going to go ahead and process two images that I took in the field the other day when I was out in Red Rock Canyon. That video I posted a couple days ago about shooting those intimate scenes and cactuses and whatnot. I went ahead and took a couple of images with my phone to show you guys maybe how I'd approach it if the only thing I had was a smartphone. So for those of you out there who are interested in photography and want to learn more but don't have the expensive photography gears and lenses and whatnot, but have one of the newer smartphones, this video is going to probably be for you. So I also changed it up today and am shooting from a different camera angle. So if you guys like it, let me know down in the comments, because I don't know, maybe you'll keep this up. It's kind of fun. But let's go ahead and we're going to jump into the phone. I'm going to record and talk to you guys about some stuff there. So inside of the phone, I am using what is called Adobe Lightroom for mobile. And I believe that you guys can get it for free. There's a free version and I believe there's probably a paid version. I have the paid version because I use the Adobe Cloud. I have access to all of that. So if you guys don't want to pay, I think there is a free version. I think it just unlocks some different features. But we're gonna move pretty quick. I don't want to make this a super long video. So let's jump into the first picture here. This picture is of a cactus with some budding flowers, which I thought was pretty neat. While my camera was taking pictures of the sunset shot, which I will put on the screen right now, I was running over and taking the shot. So there's actually, for other photographers out there, there's something for you. When you got your camera set up on a composition you like, maybe put it on a timer, take some time lapse of that general area, and then go take your smartphone over and practice maybe some other compositions and make sure you really are locked in where you want to before the light gets really good. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go over to the light module. I want to go ahead and I'm going to pull down some of the highlights and I'm going to pull up some of the shadows. So I'm going to remove some contrast by doing so. That way I can introduce contrast myself. What I want to do now is I want to pull my white point right where I can see that histogram almost wanting to touch, but not clipping. And then same thing for the blacks. I want to pull that blacks down to the left just before it starts to clip. And that introduces some of that contrast back. Smartphones are usually very contrasty and very sharp. So you're gonna notice a lot of things I'm doing is reducing contrast, putting contrast back to myself, and then also gonna reduce some of that clarity and some of that sharpness so it doesn't look so fake, because their processing isn't always the best. So next thing I wanna do in my basic exposure is go to my curves here. I'm gonna select the white curve and I'm gonna give it just a basic S curve, just boosting that contrast just a little bit more. That looks pretty good. We'll probably come back here in a little bit, but let's first go over to our colors. It looks a little blue to me. It was an overcast day, so that's probably why it's a little blue, but we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna introduce a little bit more warmth here. Maybe if my temperature slider, I don't want to go too much. Perfect. And then one way I can do to check my white balance is I'm actually going to take my saturation and I'm going to crank it all the way up. That looks a lot better. So if I double tap, you'll see that it looks a little blue for my taste. So I'm going to warm it up because I want a little bit more brightness. And that doesn't look terrible with all that saturation, but I'm actually going to pull that down and then I'm going to boost the vibrance just a hair. So looking pretty good so far. We're gonna come back to the color mix and the grading here in a minute, but let's go over to our effects channel, and I actually am gonna pull some clarity down. If you see I go all the way to the left, it gives it kind of a glowy look. If I go all the way to the right, it gives it that crunchy look. So I'm actually gonna pull it down just a hair. Kind of poor man's Orton effect in here. I don't wanna go overdo it though. I'm gonna pull up the dehaze just a hair. If I go all the way to the left, it's gonna add haze. All the way to the right, it's gonna dehaze it. It's also, I gotta keep an eye on my histogram. I don't wanna start clipping blacks. There we go, very subtle. We're gonna add a vignette at the end, but detail, I really wouldn't touch this. I don't really add sharpening or noise reduction too much on my smartphone photos, so I'm not gonna really do much here. What I'm gonna do now is I want to do some more localized edits here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a mask. I'm going to grab a radial gradient mask. I'm going to click and drag there and rotate. And now I'm gonna come to my light panel and I'm gonna pull up my whites just a hair, just to give a little bit of a pop. Now to double on that effect, I'm going to grab oops, not that. I'm gonna grab, hold on, let me move that out of your way so it's not screwing up our video. I'm going to grab another linear or radial gradient here. I'm gonna drag it just a little bit bigger than the other one, but very similar. I'm going to now inverse that. I'm going to come to my lights and I'm gonna pull down my whites. So really kind of boosting that area. Okay, let's come up to another radial gradient. I maybe want to bring a little bit of attention down here to that other flower. Let's go to lights and pull up our whites. That is looking pretty good so far. So next thing, let's go back. Let's actually introduce a little bit of a vignette. So we're going to be done. I'm going to move this over. Done there. Let's come back over to our effects panel and let's add a little bit of vignette. Oops, not that much. Maybe like right about there. Yeah, that's looking really good because I really want my eye to go over to that right portion. And I actually am probably gonna come over here now and crop. Let's say I'm gonna post this on Instagram. So let's go to our custom folder and let's do a 5x4 or 4x5 is really what we're gonna be looking for. Oops, maybe go to a vertical aspect. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. Awesome, let's come over and let's introduce a little bit more warmth to it. Perfect, by coming to our color grading, let's go to our highlights and let's pump a little bit of warmth into our highlights. Not a ton. And then let's come back over to our shadows and pull maybe some teal, maybe a little blue, and maybe we can pull the luminance down and then go back up to here and maybe put a little bit of luminance back in. Awesome. I think that is it for that one. That one looks pretty good. So I'll show you guys a before and after here on the screen right now. Okay, so for this second photo here, we're gonna kind of go through the same process. I'm going to fix exposure, remove some of that contrast, remove some of that clarity that the smartphones typically do, put my own contrast back in, and maybe play with some color grading to create some more color contrast in the image as well. So what we're gonna do, let's do that. Let's jump to our lights. The exposure is actually sitting decent where it's at. But let's go ahead and we'll pull the highlights down and let's pull the shadows up, kind of pulling out some of that HDR. So for some of you that know, your smartphone actually takes multiple images at different exposures and then blends them seamlessly during that. So you're actually having multiple images at one time. It's something that we manually do with our cameras, but your smartphones automatically do it. They don't always do the best job, but there's a lot more information there than you realize. And I didn't even shoot these raw. My phone has the capability of shooting raw, but I didn't for this case because most of your smartphones out there don't shoot raw, so I didn't think that'd be very fair. So let's take our white point and pull that up so it gives a little bit of pop and pull the blacks down. Okay, I don't want to touch that contrast because that's not my favorite way to add contrast. Let's just add a 3-point S curve here. Cool, let's lift the blacks just a hair, give it a kind of a filmic look. Let's go over here. Done, okay. Let's check our color. Again, I'm gonna come down here, I'm gonna crank the saturation. Yeah, it looks a little blue to my taste, so I'm gonna bring it up just because I'm wanting more of a warm warm vibe. So I'm gonna put a little magenta and a little bit of warmth into this image. And then I'm going to now pull the saturation down to a place that looks pretty good. And that looks a lot better. I like how those colors looked. I was kind of going for that golden glow. I think it looks better with that sage green of the bushes and the cactus in these images. So let's go to our effects panel and let's pull some clarity down. Again, introducing a little bit of that glow. It's poor man's Orton effect. It's not the greatest thing to do. You only get away with it, in my opinion, on the smartphones because there's too much clarity already added. Might even be able to pull some texture down too. These images always look super over sharpened to me, so I'm gonna add a little bit of dehaze. Now, something that's gonna be kind of cool here, I'm already looking for color that I want to mess with, is I'm gonna come up here to the color mix. I'm going to select this little dot here, make sure I'm on saturation. I'm gonna click up here in the sky and pull that down. Yeah. See, that sky is just like super distracting with how fake blue it was. So I'm gonna pull that down, and I'm gonna even pull the luminance down just a hair, maybe increase it. Right there, looks good. Yeah, that looks a lot better than what we had before. So it's not as distracting. That's not where I want my eye to go. Let's go ahead and do some masking now. So go over to masking, hit the plus icon, radial gradient, make it big. Let's kind of add a little vignette here. Come to the inverse, select that, go to color or light, sorry, and we're gonna pull the whites down. Very subtle effect. I usually like to pull the whites down rather than exposure, because if I pull the exposure down, it's gonna shove those blacks into the corner and kind of create a clipping effect with the blacks that I don't want. By pulling the whites down, it's gonna decrease the intensity of light and drawing your eye towards our subject like I want. Our radial gradient, hit plus, radial gradient. Let's go ahead and draw a small one here and rotate it. Do a little bit of fake dodging and burning here. Let's go to our light and increase the whites. Cool, just subtle. Gotta be subtle with these. The more subtle you are with your edits, the better it will be. I'm gonna add another little pop there. I think that's pretty much it. I think actually I'm gonna remove that one. I don't like how that last one looked. I might even pull that down just a hair. I think I overdid it. Balance that out with the other parts of the cactus a little bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go to our effect and let's add a touch more vignette. Not a ton. Don't overdo it. The overdoing the vignette always is a bad go. Just a subtle vignette there. Awesome, let's go to our crop and let's go to a 4:5 aspect ratio. Let's make sure our composition looks nice. All right, there. Let's maybe do a little color grading. Let's go to our color, not our color mix, my apologies, grading. Let's go to our highlights and put a little warmth into those highlights. And then let's go to our shadows and put a little teal-ish green into the shadows, kind of contrasting that gold color. And then I actually want to desaturate those shadows just a touch. Those are just a little hot, so. Cool. Now that one was a lot more simple, and I actually may even do one more mask here. Let's go, click done here. Let's go over to our mask, and let's grab a linear gradient, drag it from the bottom. That bottom's just a touch on the distracting side, so I'm gonna go to the lights and pull that down. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer. So a lot simpler edit on the second. I'll go ahead and show you guys now the before and after. So I hope you guys enjoyed this unique video. If you guys want to see more smartphone photography, let me know down in the comment section. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, please consider hitting the subscribe button. And also, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button because it really will help push my content out to new people, which helps support me and what I'm doing. The big takeaways I want you guys to have from today is with your smartphone, pull down that clarity, pull down some of that texture, don't increase it. If anything, just leave it be because your smartphone is already introducing a lot of that and it is kind of overdone. If you punch a little bit more in, it's gonna create some more artifacting that won't look very good. It cheapens the look of your photo. Now, I added a little bit of what I kept on calling cheap man's Orton effect. It's just, you can decrease that clarity and dehaze, but I would be a little careful with that. Be tasteful. Make sure your edits are more minute, not drastic swings, because that's again going to make your photos look a lot better. It's going to turn a smartphone and make it look a lot higher quality than what most people are used to, especially if you're displaying your work on the web. You can get away with using a smartphone. I post pictures with my smartphone on my Instagram feed all the time, which is one of the reasons why I came up with this idea, is sharing some other knowledge with you guys other than just professional photography. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this, again, please let me know. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys in the comment section. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.